Back in 2018, when I finished Marvel Spider-Man on my PlayStation 4 Pro, I was astonished by how much technology has progressed and improved modern gaming. I spent a very large chunk of my playtime just web swinging across Manhattan, collecting different Spider-Man suits and taking selfies on top of the skyscrapers in New York City. I had a great time. Now, 5 years later, Marvel Spider-Man 2 on PlayStation 5 didn't disappoint either. It's easily one of the best showcases of PlayStation 5's power, and it's a textbook example of how to make an excellent game sequel. However, as I saw the credit roll in front of my eyes, satisfied about my completion, I feel fatigue have kicked in. In fact, even before the end of the game, I have already been feeling that I've seen enough and ready to move on. But I do have questions. Will we be seeing another Spider-Man from Insomnia? And can they deliver anything bold and innovative in their next entry? I think Marvel Spider-Man 2 is a great game that has set a high bar for the industry, but I do worry about this franchise future. Now, before we jump into the good and bad, for people who haven't played Marvel Spider-Man 2 or the previous Spider-Man game before, let's take a look at what the game really is. Marvel Spider-Man 2 is an action-adventure single-player video game that immerses player into the thrilling world of Spider-Man, which is of course based on the popular superhero from Marvel's comic. The game is played from a third-person perspective and introduces player to the iconic duo of Peter Parker and Miles Morales, who are the primary characters. Additionally, players can step into the shoes of Mary Jane and Venom during certain missions, each character contributing to the storyline and adding depth to the gameplay. The action takes place in the expansive world rendition of New York City, where you can explore, swing through the cityscape, and engage in epic battles against formidable villains. Now here comes the question that a lot of people asked. Do you have to play Marvel Spider-Man 1 or the spin-off Miles Morales before you play Spider-Man 2? Well, yes and no. Yes, the previous games have built up the background story of the two main characters. There were major events that happened in the past which have influenced and shaped our hero. It will be easier to understand their choices and relate to their feelings if you have gone through that journey with them. However, there's nothing stop you from enjoying Spider-Man 2 straight away without that knowledge. The game will start with a story recap from previous games, and those can largely be enough for you to have a good grip on the story so far. It's almost like watching Avengers without watching Iron Man or Captain America first. One of the game's standout features that inherited from previous game is the ability to acquire new skills, collect a wide array of Spider-Man suits, and craft spider gadgets, each with its unique set of powers and abilities. Players can customize their Spider-Man experience to suit their preferred playstyle, whether that involves a more agile approach or heavier focus on combat. A significant gameplay enhancement is the ability to switch between Peter Parker and Miles Morales freely during free roaming sessions within the open world. Both characters have dedicated missions in the main storyline and as part of the set content, where their unique traits are put to good use. Peter possesses devastating offensive techniques, whilst Miles is able to shock enemies with skills such as Venom Blast. The dynamic switch adds variety and depth to the gameplay experience. Expounding upon the previous entries in the series, Marvel Spider-Man 2 introduced a larger open world, including not only Manhattan but also Brooklyn and Queens. These broader settings provides more opportunities for exploration and immersion in the richly detailed New York City. Now, I have never been to New York City myself before, I couldn't say how close to reality it is, but what I can say is that it's a very detailed world, with each building and landscape being very unique, and you can easily find famous landmarks for some touristy selfies. To enhance traversal, both Peter and Miles receive new suits equipped with wipe wings, allowing them to glide across the city. The efficiency and distance they can cover while gliding is influenced by environmental factors like wind tunnels, adding an exciting element to traversal. Swinging across New York City is still one of the best gaming experiences. In terms of combat, the game builds on the already impressive combat system from its predecessors. Both Spider-Man can parry physical attacks, adding a layer of depth to the combat encounters. Furthermore, the gadget wheel for each Spider-Man web shooters has been upgraded with additional mods. These mods provide new capabilities, such as casting a web line across pillars for stealth sequences or using Web Grabber to pull multiple enemies into an isolated spot for stealth takedowns. A standout addition to the gameplay is Peter Parker's ability to bond with Venom Symbiote. This unique feature grants Peter new combat abilities, including tendrils, which can be used during battles. The Venom Symbiote also opens the door to distinct web-based powers, further enhancing the combat system. Both Peter and Miles have individual skill trees, and as players accumulate experience, they can unlock new abilities and upgrades unique to each character. In addition to this, there is a third skill tree dedicated to shared abilities between the two Spider-Man, emphasizing their collaborative efforts and teamwork throughout the entire game. Now, with all this said, without a doubt, I think this is a great game for you. You might be a casual player, a parent, who has a 9-to-5 job and the only time you can play video games is a couple hours after work on a Thursday night. This might be a perfect game for you to quickly jump in, do a few activities in a short sitting. You can easily pick up from where you left it a week ago and have a fun night. You will be able to savor the game for a very long time. On the other hand, you might be a veteran gamer, a journalist, or a content creator who has played hundreds of action games. This game will be very easy for you even on the hardest difficulty. You will be able to blow through it in 20 hours, enjoy the story, and swing across New York City. You will have a great time and then quickly put it behind your mind and move on to the next thing in your backlog. So it really is a game for everyone. But is that enough for you to come back? Pay another $70 for a similar experience when Spider-Man 3 comes out. Now I know there's a lot of critics saying that the game is too short. I disagree with that. In fact, if the game was any longer, I would feel it's dragging too much. One of the major issues I have with Marvel Spider-Man 2 is the side activities, such as collecting spider bots, shooting photos, and stopping random crimes. While these activities initially feel fun and engaging, they ultimately become monotonous and repetitive due to their lack of variety and purpose. The collecting activity eventually felt more like a chore than exciting encounter, as there was no substantial reward or meaningful impact on the game. Similarly, the random crime that players could intervene in lacked depth and variety, making them feel like busy work rather than an engaging part of the superhero experience. In fact, I feel I enjoyed traversing from point A to point B more than doing the actual activities. The combat, on the other hand, also have some issues. While the game introduced a plethora of combat moves and gadgets, I often found myself in a rinse and repeat cycle. The basic formula typically involved dodging, parrying, and using combination of web-based attack and gadget to defeat enemies. While the fluid animations and dynamic combat mechanics initially felt exhilarating, it didn't take long for the novelty to wear off. The lack of diverse enemy types and tactics made the repetitive combat encounters more noticeable. Foes were largely similar, with slight variation in strengths and abilities, but the core strategy to defeat them remains consistent throughout the game. The opening mission aside, we don't even get a proper boss fight until halfway into the game. I think this is why I become fatigued by fighting endless waves of enemies with little deviation in playstyle or opponents. Now, these flaws are not new to this game. Marvel Spider-Man 2 really is an extension to its previous two games. It was built with the same recipes with a few additional features. If you put Spider-Man 1 and 2 and Miles Morales on the same disc and then call it one game, it wouldn't feel unnatural at all. So to answer the question before, will we be seeing another Spider-Man from Insomnia? Absolutely. There's so much potential to the Spider-Verse, and I'm sure Sony will continue to support its first party to realize the power of PlayStation. This is truly a treasure for the studio as well as for us gamers. But can Insomnia deliver anything bold and innovative in their next entry? I really hope so. Marvel Spider-Man in current form has hit the sweet spot. We really need something different to keep the franchise alive and fresh. Otherwise, our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man might become another Assassin's Creed. It will be good, but not exceptional. Thank you for listening to me. If you reached this far into the video, please leave a like and tell me your thoughts in the commentary below. Remember to subscribe for new content in gaming. Thanks for watching. and see you next time.